is Photoshop tutorial. Today we'll be focusing on text creation and styling. In this lesson, we will cover how to add and format text and explore text layer properties and apply various text effects and layers to enhance your design. You see, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to use the text tool confidently and creatively in your projects. Let's dive right in. First of all, we'll start with adding text. The text tool allows you to, this is the text tool right here, right? It allows you to edit text within your Photoshop document. Text layers are automatically created when you use the text tool, enabling flexible editing. And so to add text onto your document, all you have to do is to select the text tool here, or press T on your keyboard, or click on the text tool icon to select your text tool. Then to create a text, you can do that in two ways. First of all, Photoshop has something called the point text, and secondly has the paragraph text. You're going to start with the point text. You click anywhere on the canvas to start typing. This creates a text layer for a single line text. Look at this layer area now. Once I click, it's going to create a layer automatically for me. Like right here, type mastering design, just one line. No matter how far you go, I've seen people assume that maybe if you're typing here and you get here, it's going to break to the next line. Photoshop doesn't do that. This is one line text. If you click any point on the canvas, you're going to create one line text. Then for the paragraph text, you can click and drag to create a text box. This constrains your text within the box, making it ideal for longer passages or text. So let's say you just click and drag. Okay, that's how you create a text. See, you can expand this way and it will align. So it's more like creating a paragraph text. Some people call it text box, but I like to call it paragraph text, right? You can now click on the move tool and move each of the texts created. So let's say we want to create maybe a box item or a grid item. So you can put them this way. So this is the title and this is the body of the item. You observe that as soon as I created this text, layers were created for these ones separately. Next, we are going to learn how to format the text. And this is our title and this is the body. As you can see, both of them look the same. So let's say we want to style it. How do we go about it? First of all, look at where you find your styling here. But if you can't find this icon here or this panel here, you can come to Window and then Character. Right? Click on Character. As you can see, character is ticked. That's why it's showing here. I can now minimize it and show it at will. The same goes for paragraph, but we'll come to that shortly. In the text panel, you're going to find a lot of things here. You're going to find how to change the font. You're going to find how to change the formatting of the font, be regular or bold or tiny or whatever. Then you can change the font size here. Instead of just saying this way, let me apply them to our text. So first thing, click on the text you created and then highlight it by pressing Ctrl A or Command A if you're on the Mac. You can come here and begin to format it. Now currently we're using Poppins font, or we can decide to change that. So let me say I want to choose, let's say Nexa, right? So I can choose Nexa. As you can see, it has changed already. You can come here and change how you want it to look. Now this ones as our font, this particular formatting here is font specific. There are some fonts you will get and they will just have regular or anything here. Some will have a lot of it here, a lot of variations here. You can choose heavy because it's our title. This looks small, so we need to increase the size a little bit. So let's say I make it 12. This looks good already. This next one has to do with line height. So, or it's called leading rather. That is the space between the text. So let's say we come to this paragraph text, right? And want to adjust the space between these lines. So we can actually come here and reduce it to 10. As you can see, it just reduced. Then there is also the kerning, that is the space between two characters. Okay, so to adjust the kerning, place your cursor between two characters anywhere. Now you can increase the space between them just by increasing this. It's becoming wider. That is how you do that, but I don't need that for my text right now. So I'm just going to leave it at 0. The next is tracking. Tracking has to do with the space between a selected character. So for this particular one, you can increase the space between two characters. So you just place the cursor here and it's going to increase the space between them. But for tracking, you have to select in a group of characters and then begin to increase this. Notice that you can enter in a value here like 100, right, and press enter, or you can just click and drag over all this. Once your icon changes to this, right, two arrows pointing left and right, you can easily click and drag and increase the value. So this is 320, but I still want to bring it down to, let's say, just 0. But for our text, right, our title text, I want to reduce it to 60. To 60 kind of gives it more definition. And then this is the stretch, or the vertical scaling. You want to scale the font vertically, you do it from here. I'm on mastering design, so I can decide to increase it. This is scaling it vertically alone. I don't think anybody will want to do this to their text at any time, but if you need that, that's what it does. Same as this horizontal scale. If you do this, you're going to be scaling your text horizontally. I'm still going to press Ctrl Z on those to revert to normal. This here is the baseline shift. Every text has a baseline. This is where the characters are sitting, kind of the floor for the characters. If you want to lift the baseline, you can easily, let's say for instance, I want to select this DE, and as you can see, as soon as I selected it, there is a baseline showing here. There's a line showing. It's not on the line, it's just telling you that this is the baseline of this design, this text rather. So you can increase it here. If you are beginning to increase this, you won't observe that DE will start going up. So let's see if I begin to increase this. Yeah, so that's exactly what's happening. As you can see, the line is no longer down, it's now here, that line underneath it. So I'm going to, just like the others, I'm going to still revert this to normal. Then brings us to coloring. If you select your text and you want to color it, this is where you do that. So for the body of our text, we're going to come here. I'm going to change it to something dark gray, not full black anymore, right? That is to project. That's going to help us project our title better, to create a contrast between the title and the body of the text. If you want to change it for specific letters or alphabets or words, you can easily select here and change it here too. Notice that this applies to every other style too. So assuming I want to change the font for this particular word, I can just change it here and it's going to apply. The next is now the font variations that Photoshop gives you. Now remember I told you there is font variation here, but these ones come with the fonts that you installed. So let's say you downloaded the regular version and the regular version, and you didn't download the bold version. The only one that will be showing here will be the regular version and not the bold version. As you can see for this one, this font I have here is only the regular version that is here, right? That is this font I use for this red color. It's only the regular version, it's not here. So but if you now want to apply more variations to it, these are the ones that Photoshop provided for you. So in this case, in the case of this text here, right, I just have the regular version. If I want it to be bolder, I can just press bold here. You see, it just got a little bit bolder, right? Or you can, if I want to make it italicized, I didn't download the italicized part of the font, or maybe it's not even there. So I just have to click on this Fox Italics, right? And then it's going to be italicized for me. Then the same thing happens for, or works for every other thing here. So this is uppercase. If you want to make your text uppercase, you can click on this. This is lowercase and this is uppercase now. So I'm going to select all of these because this is the body of the text. I'm going to remove from uppercase. I'm going to click this, as everything is going to come down to normal, right? Normal case. The next will be the small caps. If I select all of this text and click on small caps, you observe that it made everything capital letter, quite alright. But the first letter is bigger than every other letter here. After every full stop, you observe that the first letter is bigger than every other letter. So that is how this works. That is, it just creates kind of small caps for everything and then big caps for the first letter of the sentence. Or then this is for superscript, right? So I'm going to undo this. This is for superscript. This is for subscript. So if let's say I want to do 2 raised to power of 7, I can just write 27, increase the size here, and then select 7 and write and click on superscript, and it becomes raised to power 7. And then this is for subscript and all that. If you want to normalize it, just click on it again and you disable it. Okay, then if you want to underline your text, I'm going to delete this now. I'm just going to click on, select the layer and press delete to delete it. Then select this with the text tool, of course. Select this, Control A, and then click on underline to underline your title, right? Or you can as well cancel it. You don't have to click the text tool and highlight so in order to apply your text. You can just select the layer here and begin to apply it. Why I like to select it sometimes is because it gives me more leverage to do what I want to do. So if you want to apply a style to design alone, you will have to go to the text tool and then select design alone to be able to do that. But if you're applying it to the whole font, to the whole text, you don't have to do that. That is how it works. Then for this also, you can just click and cancel it out. You see, it just cancels it out automatically for you. Strike through. So you now select, just remove all of these. I just want to leave it this way. It just looks better like this. Okay, let's talk about alignment, right? So to align your text, I'm not talking about aligning the entire document, just to align your text. Now this is a paragraph text. So if you come to the paragraph area, paragraph panel, you're going to see there are different alignments. So there is left align, there is center align. So if you click on it, it's going to align your text to the center. This is going to align it to the right. This is going to justify it, right? It's going to justify last left, okay? It's going to justify it, but the last will not be on the left. And the last will be on the center in this case. So the last line will be on the center, but it's going to still be justified. This is still justified, right? But it's going to now be on the right side. The last line will be on the right side of it. So let's click on it and see. Yeah. So this is justify also, but it justifies everything, including the last line. If you click on this, it kind of justifies everything. So now you can see that, but for now, for this particular case, let us use this particular one, justify last left, our design. Okay, so that's a paragraph. So this is indent left margin. So if you begin to increase this, you observe that your text is moving towards, you are adding a margin in the left side of your text. So look at this now. You see, we're having more space here than we have here. Let's say we enter a number, let's say 6.5. You see, we are adding a margin to the left of it. Now, if you want to add it to the first line alone, so let's bring this down to 0. Okay, you're going to use this. You come here, and then it's called indent first line. You just add in the number 6, and you're going to see it will indent the first line for you. So let's say I want to make it 10 to indent the first line, and then this one the same thing it does, but it does it to the right. Indent the same thing that this first one does, but it does it to the right. So indent right margin. So you can now increase this. Let's say you add 10 or maybe 15, right, and press enter. You're going to see there is now a space here on the left side, on the right side of the text. So this next one now is to add space before the paragraph. So here now, this is where the paragraph starts. First of all, let me reverse this to 0. So this is where the paragraph starts. So I'm going to add this. Maybe like add 30, space of 30. Okay, this is not going to show because this is just one paragraph here. So if I now enter a paragraph here, see there is a big space here. This big space is because this is 30. So if I now reduce this to 10, you see the space is reducing. So the space between paragraphs, so this paragraph 1, this is paragraph 2. And so this is how you space it. Then if you want to add a space after the paragraph, you can also use this one. Okay, so that is how this works. If you want to hyphenate your work, okay, so that the way it is set now, every word continues on the next line. There is no hyphenation. That is the little dash on the end of each line. Maybe if the word did not complete. So you can do this, you can do that with this. So that if there is a word, okay, just look at this now. Facilis, yeah. It couldn't complete here, so it added a hyphen and then continue the next line. If you don't want to add that, you can remove it here. So next, we are going to talk about text layer property. Now, this is your layers. As soon as you started creating your text, it started creating layers for you. Each text layer in Photoshop has adjustable properties that can enhance the text appearance and interact with other layers. These properties are similar to basic layers, but include text-specific options. For example, we're going to start with renaming the layer. Of course, you can rename your layer like we've seen, and just double click on the name of the layer to rename it. And the next is going to be to convert text to shape, right? You can right click on the text layer and choose to convert to shape. This turns your text into a vector shape, allowing for further customization with pen tool and direct manipulation of anchor points. So for an example now, let me just write a new text. Let's say you're creating a logo, right? Now I'm going to do, if you are new to Photoshop, I'm going to do something that is a bit advanced. So just bear with me. I want to use to explain what this is. So press A. Okay, I'm going to remove all of this so it stop affecting my text. Okay, bring all this down to 0. Press enter. Okay, I'm going to increase the size of my letter. Okay, this is A, but I don't want the A to just look. Okay, let me just use ABC, right? So but I want this to look a bit more different than the regular ABC. Maybe I'm creating a conference, an ABC conference flyer, and I don't want you to look like the regular ABC. What can I do? I can right click and convert to shape, right? So look at it here, convert to shape on the text layer. Click on it. Once this is now a shape, this is no longer a text. You can no longer edit it by pressing text tool and clicking on it. You can't. But what you can do is that you can hold control while on the text tool, hold control and click on one of the nodes, and you can begin to adjust the nodes. Holding down control, you can select each node. If you want to select two nodes, you can hold control and hold shift, and you have two nodes selected. With this, I can drag this, right? I will now hold down control alone. After I've held shift to be able to select the second node, I will now remove my hand from shift with control held down. I'll start dragging this, right? As you can see, you can increase this like this. So let's say also I want to touch this area. I don't like the way it's looking. I want to make it more unique. I can hold control again, click on this node, and then hold shift and click on other nodes I want to adjust with it, right? Like this. Or rather, let me leave these two. I'm still holding down shift. Now I want to adjust it. Now I'm going to leave shift. I'll now drag this down. Okay. No, that's not okay. So I'm going to click on this again with shift. Be able to select the second node there and then bring it down. Then press V. You see, this has changed the shape of this A. It has given it a unique feel, a complete different, but everybody still knows it's ABC you wrote, right? Now, there are many things you can do with this, but I'll just give you an example. Next, you can convert your text layers to smart objects. You can right click on the text layer and choose the convert to smart object. This makes the text non-destructive, allowing you to apply filters and effects while preserving editability. Okay, so let's say you have a text. Observe that in this case we can no longer edit this, okay, like change it. But let's say I have another one here, X, Y, and Z. Okay, X, Y, and Z, and I right click and convert it to smart object here. Convert to smart object. Okay, now observe that there is a small icon here showing that this is now a smart object thumbnail. Also a smart object rather. Then look at here too. You observe that on this layer too, that is what I'm showing here. So this is now a vector, right? It's no longer is a shape rather, no longer a text. So we are still on this one. Now you can't edit this now by clicking text to here. You can't. You just create a new text if you click on it with text tool. So press delete to delete that. But what can you do? If you double click on this thumbnail now, double click on it, Photoshop is going to open in a new place where you can still edit this thing, right? Which is to tell you it is still very much editable. But now on this your work, okay, you can now apply effects to it and not lose and you can now apply effects comfortably. Some effects, there are some effects that you cannot apply to text that you can apply to smart objects. So you can now apply those effects to it. let's say I want to edit this text, I can come here actually and just remove one. Maybe I delete um, Z and press Control S on this one. It's going to save into this one. So as you can see, we now have XY here, right? So that is how it works. The next I'm going to show you is warping text. With the text tool selected, you can click on the warp text icon in the option bar. From there, you can now choose the various styles like arc, bulge, flag, or wave, right? And then adjust the blend and distortion sliders. Now look at this. Let's say I have a text here. Okay, permit me. I'm going to delete this one, and this one too. So let's say I have a text written warp. Okay, so warp. I'm going to make it uppercase. Come to the paragraph options and remove this. Okay, that is cool. Then increase the size here so you can see what I'm doing properly. I'm going to make this bold, right? So with the text tool, click on the text tool and select the text. Control A, select the text. Now there is a warp icon, right? A warp functionality here. Click on it, then go to style, and then choose the one you want. So let's say you want the text to be like an arc, right? You can do it here, and it turns to an arc. You can begin to adjust the properties. So this is the bend. So you want it to bend, maybe it's too much, you want to reduce it, you can begin to reduce it like this, right? You can use the horizontal distortion to distort it horizontally, and then use the vertical distortion to distort it vertically as you want it to be, right? So you have to, yeah, so that is that. You can actually change it to vertical or horizontal. There are different stuff here. So maybe after now, take some time and experiment on all of this stuff and see what they look like. For instance, you have bulge, right? It's gonna bulge with these settings, it is bulging, but I'm gonna leave it at arc. Okay, so I'm pressing OK. That is how it works. So I'm going to show you something on text, effect, and styles. I'm going to introduce you to blending options. So right click on any text. So let's say we have this warp text here, and you right click on it, okay, and then go to blending options up here, right? Blending options. It's going to pop up. This box is going to come up, and you can apply different effects to this stuff. I'm just going to choose a couple of effects to show you how you can use this. You can now experiment with them, play around with them. Make sure to play around with them. That's how you're going to learn. If you have questions, you can drop it in the comment section, and I'm going to respond to you. But make sure you experiment with these things. Okay, so I'm going to add a gradient effect, okay, to this. So first of all, click on the gradient effect. Don't just click on this tick here. Make sure you click on the body. If you click on the tick, it's going to be applied, but it's going to apply the preset already, and you cannot adjust it, right? So let me assume I want to add text overlay, and I don't click here, and I click on the checkbox like this. Now, if you observe, the color changed a little bit, but it changed to the color that is already set there, and not the color I want. So until I click on the body, that's only when the properties of that particular style will open up. You can now change it. But let's come back to gradient. Now you can't notice any difference because the gradient that is set currently does not allow us to show difference, right? It's just black here and transparent all the way. So now I'm going to click on this to bring all the transparent, to add my gradient. Then I'll adjust other properties here. Click on this, select any property, any gradient you like, right? This is the ones I have set. I've saved them myself, so I can just pick any one. Which one do we pick now? Let me start with something simple. This gradient, this one has just two colors. Okay, so this is the color. These are the colors it has. Now, bear in mind that you can add more colors to this by clicking here. Once you move your mouse close to this place, it's going to turn to a hand. Just click it to add a stop, right? A node here, and then double click on it to change the color of the node. So you can add a red color here, and it's going to be there too. You can add as many as you want, depending on what you want to create. You'll be changing the colors like you want. So like I said, do well to experiment with all of these. That's the only way you are going to master them. Okay, so that's how I created all these ones I created here. So but for now, I'm just going to remove all of these, right, and just leave it at this simple one. Press OK. You can now adjust this, how it looks. For example, the opacity. Remember we had a black color in the background before we now did an overlay of gradient. So it's more like we have got this black, the gradient as a blanket over the black. So now when we begin to reduce the opacity, you'll start seeing that black color that was there. Now that is it. When it goes to 0, you see full black. When it comes up, you start seeing more of the bluish color until it gets to 100%, right? And all that. Now, this blend mode is how the color will interact with whatever that is that is underneath it. So in this case, a black color. So if you put an image inside the text, it will interact with that image. But in this case, we have the black color. So if you say overlay, it's going to overlay it. Now we have full black. So but for now, let's leave it at normal. You can change the style of this particular gradient. You can make it radial, right? It comes from the center. You can preview what is happening on your text here in a square. There's angle, right? Look at it. You can then, when you've done that, you can now adjust the angle of this. You can choose any one you want, right? All right. But you can now adjust this to look the way you want. Let's say we have something like this. I think this looks good. Yeah. Let's say we use this, and then you can adjust the angle. If this was in linear, you can be changing it to come to look different. So just observe. Notice that the blue is coming from here towards the light blue, and or you can scale it and big and small and all of that. So you can reverse it here and align it with layer. And this is aligned to this particular layer. If I remove this align to layer, the gradient is going to be spread through the whole page from the beginning of this document here of the canvas to the end of the canvas. That's why it's not showing lighter here. But if I say align to layer, it compresses it into this particular layer. You can also add other styles. I'm just going to add one more and then we move on. I'm going to add a stroke, right? I'm going to add a stroke of, okay, let me just make it 2. A stroke of white or gray, very light gray, right? Something like this. Yeah, very close to white. Let's just call it off white. I don't know if you can see it. Let me make it look at what we have. So, but I'm going to reduce this a little and then change the color back to what we wanted to use, and then add a drop shadow to it. Reduce the distance of the shadow and all of that, and look at what we have. So you can as well follow the settings here to create this kind of stuff and press OK. Now you can move it around. See what we have? This is cool. In the coming tutorials, we're going to go more in depth in layer styles for text and other elements of your design. But for now, we're going to stop it here. If you're thinking about how to get more fonts, right? Thinking about how to get fonts for your design, you see designers use beautiful fonts. You don't even know how they get it. Or if you get it, how do you now make it work on Photoshop? I had someone ask me that question some time ago, and I'm going to create a video just after this one to show you how to do that. So check my next video to find out how you can install fonts on Photoshop. It's just a very short video for you. So you can go ahead and watch it if you want to see how you can install fonts on your computer and make it work on Photoshop. So in this lesson, we have explained how to use the text tool to add and format text, adjust text layers, properties, and apply various effects and styles to make your text stand out. Now, with these skills, you'll be able to incorporate creative text elements into your design effectively. I thank you very much for following this tutorial. If you've not subscribed to this channel, click on the subscribe button and on the bell icon to be notified when I post my next video. Thank you very much for following this tutorial to the end. I'm going to see you in my next video.